So the Ballon d'Or ceremony took place last night, and there are many, many things we need to talk about because it was a very, very interesting display. But obviously, the main story is that the Ballon d'Or winner of 2024 is none other than Manchester City's Rodrigo Hernandez. And wow, I am actually amazed that he actually won it, because up until like last night, or maybe even the day before, I thought Vinicius was going to win it, and I didn't really have an issue with Vinicius winning it. You know, it was, both of them were deserved winners in their own rights, but Rodri ends up coming out on top, and I couldn't be happier for him and the club. But that's not the only thing we have to talk about, because Real Madrid put up a disgraceful display yesterday at the Ballon d'Or, and I think it needs to be talked about, because it was unprofessional and it was childish from Real Madrid yesterday, because they didn't turn up to the Ballon d'Or after finding out that Vinicius would finish second, right? Okay, I can understand why they are a bit upset, and they're a bit disappointed that their player, who they think was the best player in the world, and they can rightfully think that he was the best player in the world, didn't win the trophy, right? So they didn't turn up. But Real Madrid won the men's club of the year. No one there to accept it. Ancelotti wins the Johan Cruyff Award for being the best men's manager. There's no one there to accept it. And Kylian Mbappe is joint winner of the Gerd Muller Trophy. Where's Kylian Mbappe? Oh, they didn't turn up, and they didn't accept it. So 3 awards were not accepted last night just because one player missed out on 1 award. And yes, that award in question is the main event. It is the most important award, and it is the one that everybody tunes in for, should I say. But come on, man. Like, really? Is it really that deep? Is it really that deep? I can understand being disappointed, right? But show some sportsmanship. Like, it's disrespectful to the Ballon d'Or ceremony, and it's disrespectful to Rodri to not turn up because you're having a hissy fit that you didn't win. Like, if we look back to last season, right? Messi won the Ballon d'Or. Despite the fact that many of us, me included, think that Haaland should have won the Ballon d'Or for his efforts in the treble winning season. Haaland turned up. Manchester City turned up to accept the Gerd Muller Trophy, because obviously Haaland won the Gerd Muller Trophy, and to accept the Club of the Year because Manchester City won the Club of the Year. So, like, come on, man. Like, really, like, this, like, especially from such a prestigious club that have 15 Champions Leagues and a whole host of silverware, one of the biggest clubs in the world, if not the biggest, and they're throwing a hissy fit over 1 Ballon d'Or. Where, like, I won't even say it's a clear robbery. Like, there were cases to be made for both players. Either way, who won it, I don't think I could have complained, because they were both the best player in the world in their own right, and both contributed to different trophy wins, right? But obviously, for me, it had to be Rodri. I watch Rodri the most. I think Rodri is very, very important to how Manchester City play, and I think he's been the best player in the world over the last 2 years. I think, you know, his way that he can dictate the play, the way that he can calm things down in the midfield, the way he adds more stability to the City team, and the way he allows the best team in the world to function. You look at the games we played last season in the Premier League without Rodri, and look how dire we were in the midfield, and look how much better we were with him in the team. And if you look, he only lost 2 games in club football last season. The Champions League quarter-final, which he didn't even lose the game, he lost the tie. And the only game he lost was the FA Cup final. And yes, he lost the final, that's very disappointing. But one game and 2 ties over the whole season to lose is insane for a player. I think that is very insane. So, you know, and that's not even to mention his goals, his clutch goals. Obviously, the Champions League winner was the season before, but you add that on top of the last-minute equalizers and winners that he scored last season. you look at some of the assists he was providing. You look at some of the dribbles he was providing. Like he really was playing as a complete midfielder. He wasn't just a lone six. He wasn't just a holding midfielder. He was a box to box. And mate, hell, I bet if Pep decided to play Rodri as a 10, we would see some sort of success, because he just is the complete midfielder. And some people will say that football has fallen off because a holding midfielder is winning the Ballon d'Or. And I will concede the fact that the Ballon d'Or nominees this year haven't been as good as past years. And that is because individual excellence isn't as important to the footballing game now, with the way that tactics have evolved and the way that it's more about systems and being a well-drilled team. So I can understand, people saying that the nominees aren't as good as past years. I can totally get behind that, and I can agree with that. But to say it's fallen off because a holding midfielder is the best player in the world, I can't get behind that sentiment, because if you look at it, right, does the Ballon d'Or have to be won by Phil Foden, Bukayo Saka, Cole Palmer, Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe? Does it have to be someone that dribbles, that shoots, that can do all these fancy flicks and the skill moves? Does it have to be that? Does it have to be that person? Does it actually have to be? Or can the best player in the world be any of the 11 players that play in any position on the pitch for a team at a given time? Because I think that is it. Because if we just say there has to be a winger and the best player in the world has to fit the Messi and Ronaldo criteria, then the Ballon d'Or winners are going to get worse and worse as the years go on, because that sort of winger doesn't exist in today's game. And yes, you might say, look at Palmer's goals, look at Saka's goals, look at Vinicius, but they're not putting up Messi and Ronaldo numbers. And no matter who's going to win the Ballon d'Or after Messi and Ronaldo, you look at Modric, you look at Benzema, you look at Rodri, there's always going to be a fall off, because no one, and I mean no one, can replicate the numbers that Messi and Ronaldo were doing. It's unheard of. Mbappe and Haaland were meant to do that. And they're putting up excellent seasons, but they're not getting close to those numbers. Why? Because these two were freaks of the game. And unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, we had to watch this era of football. So we had the blessing of being able to watch these two players play and watch the two best players to ever play the game. But the downside to that is anything we watch after that's not going to be as good. And football has peaked it. Football has peaked in our eyes because we've watched Messi and Ronaldo. And anyone we watch after this is just going to be a scrub in comparison to those two. So we just have to accept that the levels that Messi and Ronaldo performed at, we're not going to see. Not in the next few years anyway. We might see it again, but we're not going to see it in the next few years. And, that's all I really have to say on Rodri winning. I think he was a very deserved winner, and I think I'm very happy for the club to have a Ballon d'Or winner. I never thought growing up that I would see a Manchester City player win the Ballon d'Or, but here we are. And, I'm not even saying the Ballon d'Or means that much, because I think the Ballon d'Or is a bit of a shambles. You look at 2020 when it got cancelled, when Lewandowski was the best player in the world. Lewandowski should have a Ballon d'Or, but he doesn't because they cancelled the Ballon d'Or. And then you look at 2023, I think Haaland should have won it, but Messi wins the Ballon d'Or because he's Messi and because he won the World Cup the year prior. And I'm a huge Messi fan. That's not even me hating on Messi because I'm a huge Messi fan, but I was very disappointed to see him win it over Haaland. The Ballon d'Or has definitely lost a lot of credibility over the years, and it's definitely becoming less and less relevant. But that's not to say that we can't celebrate our players winning the Ballon d'Or, because this is a huge moment for the club. We have our first Ballon d'Or winner, and it really shows that we are a serious club now. And, I couldn't be happier, but, I'm just making this video really because I just want to start a discussion in the comments. I want you guys to let me know who you think should have won the Ballon d'Or. Do you think it should have been Ballon? Do you think it should have been Vinicius? Do you think it should have been Rodri? Or is there an outside shout that you think really deserved the Ballon d'Or? Also, let me know what you make of Real Madrid's behaviour yesterday. Do you think it was completely justified, or do you think they were being childish and just throwing their toys out the pram? And finally, please let me know your thoughts on the Ballon d'Or as a whole, and if you think that it has lost all meaning and credibility over the years, because I think it has. I don't think it's as big of a deal as it once was. I was watching the ceremony. I thought it was a bit dragged out. I thought it was a bit clunky. A lot of the players not being able to understand the presenters because there's a language barrier. and the translation's not always working in the players' ears. So there was a lot of awkward moments, but you know, you get that at any sort of award ceremony. So you know, it comes some slack for that. But I definitely do think that the Ballon d'Or has lost its magic over the years, and I think maybe in a few years it might even be an irrelevant award and a relic of the past. But you know, with all that being said, I have been Nathan. You know, if you enjoyed the video, please do like the video and leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. I really do enjoy reading the comments, and a lot of you know that I do often reply and engage in conversations down there because it's one of my favorite things about, you know, making content. And again, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel. You know, a lot of people that watch this channel aren't subscribed, so if you keep coming back for more and enjoying my stuff, please do just click that subscribe button down there. You know, it literally takes 10 seconds, it's free of charge, and you know, it benefits me a whole lot. But you know, and if this is the first video of mine you're watching, please do check out the rest of the videos on the channel, because you know, it's a lot of good content on the channel, and you know, it might even further encourage you to subscribe. But with all that being said, Rodri's your Ballon d'Or winner for 2024, and I've been Nathan, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Shut down cases, they belly dots to the can't see faces, chasing to the bad guy chase it. You don't wanna be the one like Ace and like G takes and tell him I'm wasted. Aye, tell a bad bitch come break it, body come mad, come shake it, shit then get back to the basics, bro, done shut down cases, they belly dots to the